The Phantom of the Opera owns a rave. Hi, my name is Adriana and it's good to see you again. And if you're new here, it's nice to meet you. So I had this cute idea, right? I was going through my bookshelves, unhauling some books, organizing, and I found a book that I read in middle school. I remember when I read this book in middle school and I loved it. I loved it so much. It's just been lurking in my shelf because every time I unhaul books, I see that book and I'm like, well, I have good memories of it. I remember really, really liking it, so I'll just keep it. I never got around to rereading it until now. The book I read is called Roseblood, and it's by A.G. Howard. And if that author name sounds familiar to you, A.G. Howard also wrote the Splintered series, which is Alice in Wonderland inspired. And I hate that series so much. When picking this up, I didn't even know A.G. Howard wrote that series. It's like on the back, like you know when hardcovers have like promotionals at the end. It's at the end, you can see it. Didn't know that, so imagine my surprise when I took the cover off this and looked at it. I knew it was going to be an adventure from there on out. As you can tell from the cover, it is Phantom of the Opera inspired. I don't know if you can tell by looking at me, but I love Phantom of the Opera. The novel, the Broadway, I listen to the soundtrack to the 2003 movie every time in my car. I even have this really cute Phantom of the Opera poster in the back that you always see. I love Phantom of the Opera so much. It holds very near and dear to my heart, and I've adored it for years. So of course, middle school me getting this in an Owl Crate box was so excited. She was so ready for this. More Phantom of the Opera content, which is probably the biggest factor for why I liked this as a kid, because it just slaps Phantom of the Opera motifs in every direction, and of course I ate that up. This book, oh, where do I begin? Instead of presenting this to you reading vlog style, I'm just gonna sit down and rant about it because oh boy, do I have some words. I want to preface that I tried so hard to like this. It's a book from my childhood. I wanted to see past its flaws and try to remember why I liked it as a kid, but for the life of me, I could not remember as I read through the train wreck that is this book. So if you want to hear me rant about this, spoilers ahead, then stick around. Roseblood. We open up with a girl named Rune. Not gonna make fun of it. I'm not gonna make fun of the name. I have ample time to make fun of other names later down the line. Hold it. Hold it, Adriana. You gotta hold it. Rune, we meet, is a 17-year-old girl who has been accepted into an academy in France, an operatic academy that teaches voice lessons, history of opera, stuff like that. The academy's name is Roseblood. Rune has been transferred to Roseblood. She's gonna do her senior year there, and in the first 20 pages we just info dump about Rune and her powers along with the tragic passing of her father, so let's just get into it. Rune has this thing where if she hears a certain melody, usually operatic, she has to sing it. She has to. It's described as something painful. If it's like held in, she has to sing it. And if she hears this melody, she will belt it, perfect tune, perfect pitch. It doesn't matter if it's in a different language because she will sing it perfectly. She's always had this talent since she was a child. And when she was a child, her and her father would bond over this. He would play the violin while she sang, and it was a great bonding activity that they would do in her childhood. But unfortunately, her father passed away, so she has been living with her mom. We're introduced to the Academy of Roseblood, the people who go there. She meets friends, she gets friends. One of the names of the people she befriends in Roseblood is Sunflower Summers. That's her name. Sunflower Summers. I'm so convinced A.G. Howard was like watching the My Little Pony Equestria movie, like the one where they're all humans, and she was introduced to the character Sunset Shimmer, and she like tapped her manager. She's like, guys, write that down, that's genius, that's genius. That's how Sunflower Summers was born. I'm not even gonna talk about Sunflower, they call her Sunny, or the rest of the crew that she meets, because if the book doesn't care about them, then I will not care about them. Quick point before I move on, if you want to know how cliche this book is, the two mean girls of this book are called the Diva Duo. How did I read this whole thing? They're called the Diva Duo, and one of the girls hates Rune because Rune heard a melody when she first went to Roseblood, bursted into this poor girl's audition and started singing and swept her away. Obviously was so much better than her. Of course she's mad at you. Of course she hates you. I would hate you too. Are you kidding me? If I was auditioning for a very important part in a very important play in the school and you burst into my audition and be better than me and I don't know you, of course I will also hate you. Enough about Roseblood, let's get into the real nitty-gritty, the real stuff that you're here for. The Phantom of the Opera. The Phantom is alive. He's alive. He's been alive for like 200 years, but I will get into that. And the Phantom has been raising a boy, a son, named Thorn. Get it? Get it? Because it's like a rose. Thorn? Roseblood? Roseblood? Thorn is entranced by Rune, stalks her just like the Phantom stalked Christine, and goes through like secret pathways in the academy to stalk her. And Thorn reports back to his father that Rune has the gift, that she's the chosen one. And Erik, the Phantom, the entire book is like, oh, we'll get her. We're gonna get her. We're gonna use her. We're gonna use her for the ritual. She's the one. We need to use her for the ritual. And the ritual is not explained until at least 50 pages left in the book. Thorn, let's talk about Thorn. Thorn is a typical YA love interest. He wears a mask like his father, like Erik. Though he is not deformed, he has no deformity. He wears a mask because, in his words, it helps him feel less alone. Because God forbid a YA protagonist is ugly. God forbid he has a deformity. Imagine, in my YA romance, an ugly love interest? Nope. How will the kids read it? How will the kids relate to it? We get Thorn's backstory, and it, for a lack of better words, is gross. Let me lay the scene. Thorn's mother was a prostitute and got pregnant by a client and had Thorn. His real name is like Ethalon. I'll put it here. I'm just gonna call him Thorn because I don't know how to pronounce that. Thorn is raised by his mother in these just horrible conditions, but his mother loves him and wants him to have a better life, so she tries to get money in a more traditional way and tries to hold down a job. Of course that doesn't work. Her pimp kills her. And so, because his mother is dead, the pimp takes Thorn, the child, and wants to pimp him out instead. I'm not going to explain further. It was disgusting that I had to read the conversation between like an 8-year-old boy and this disgusting man. I hated it. I did not want my eyes to see that. So as Thorn is being sold, he is bought by the Phantom. The Phantom kills the pimp, kills all the adults, saves the kids, and takes Thorn because he thinks Thorn is special. Thorn has a very powerful voice, and Erik wants to hone that power, train him, and then later use him for his nefarious deeds, which involve Rune. The relationship between Rune and Thorn sucks. It was so bad. Not only was it boring, but here's the excuse the author used so she didn't have to develop this relationship. Listen, they are soulmates. They are described as twin flames. They are the same soul split into two. Thorn, and I quote, says to Rune, We were destined to be lovers. That's how she gets away with it. They share this energy, this connection, this soul connection. They're gonna love each other because they were destined to. No development. These two only have 2 or 3 real conversations in the entire book. I mean, like, face-to-face conversations, not him just talking to her through a wall in like her dorm room. It's so bad. It's so bad. We learn why Rune was sent to Roseblood to begin with, and listen to this. She was at a frat party, right? And like all frat parties do, an operatic melody starts playing on a turntable because operatic vinyls is something every frat boy has in their dorm house, right? Right. She needs to sing, she needs to belt this out, she doesn't want to embarrass herself, so she starts binge drinking as a result. While she's drunk, intoxicated, she sees this guy, she starts making out with this guy, bear with me, and as she's making out with this guy, she starts sucking his life force out from him through his mouth and like absorbs it into her own. Like feeds off his energy. And practically kills him as a result. Mom learns about this, learns about her getting drunk, and sends her off to France. Rune is very confused as to what she is, and she doesn't know what happened. But when she meets Thorn for the first time, she asks him, "What am I?" And he responds with, "Not what you are, what we are." They're psychic vampires. That's the whole twist. Literally, they are described as psychic vampires. That's how Erik was able to live for so long, feeding off the energy of people. And do you want to know how he's been feeding off the energy of people? Do you want me to enlighten you as to where Erik gets all this excess energy from? A rave. He owns a rave. Let me say that to you again because I don't know if it's digesting in your brain. Look at me in my eyes, look at my mouth. I'm going to say this as crisp as I can. The Phantom of the Opera owns a rave. I can't even make a joke out of that. I will never be that funny as to making the opera ghost himself own a rave. That in itself is comedic genius. Are you kidding me? Erik owns a rave? This book is so melodramatic and it takes itself so seriously, even with these ridiculous plot points. Did you hear me? He owns a rave! This book was so funny. This is so funny. So that's how Erik has been getting all this energy and been staying alive for a bunch of years. He stopped killing after adopting Thorn and he opened up a rave. I spent my free time reading this book. I sat down with the limited free time I have in my life and I read this book. We then learn Christine, the real Christine. Her name is like Christine Nilsson or something. The real Christine. Listen, Christine ran off with her husband. They ran off, childhood friend, you read the book. They get married. She comes back to the Phantom, proclaims her love for him, and they stay together because they are twin flames. Can you believe that? Can you believe this author read Phantom of the Opera and sat down and was like, you know what would be a really good plot point? Erik and Christine forced to be soulmates. Have you read the book? Dare I ask, have you seen the Broadway show? Christine, why would you make the victim be soulmates with their abuser? Oh my god. If you read or seen or watched whatever have you seen Phantom of the Opera, you would know Christine doesn't love Erik because of his deformity. That's not the reason why Christine doesn't love Erik. Christine doesn't love Erik because he is insane. He is a psychopath, he is a murderer, he is a stalker, he is insane. They are not soulmates. How dare you do that to Christine Daae? There's a reason why Christine does not end up with him and he dies in the end of the book. There's a reason. It is tragic. It is not supposed to end with them being together and having a child. Yeah, you heard me. They have a child. They have a girl. The girl is born prematurely. She is born a stillborn. Erik, instead of burying the child like he told Christine he'd do, he put the stillborn baby in an incubator. The stillborn child. Put it in an incubator in hopes to resurrect her. Christine saw this, left. Obviously, what? Thought of Christine also being a psychic vampire is so funny. That's so funny. I can't even make a joke about that. The thought of Christine Daae being a succubus. It gets worse. So because when Christine died, her and Erik did not do a soul bonding ritual, her soul got split into two. And guess who possesses it? Yeah. Her soul is in Thorn and in Rune. That's her soul. That's why Rune and Thorn are soulmates, because that is Christine's soul. What? It gets worse, it gets worse. Listen to this, listen to this. Somehow, there's a whole thing with a violin. Violin had some magical energy, and Erik played it for Christine when she died. So therefore, the violin had her energy, had her music in its strings. And because that's the same violin Rune's father played for her, therefore Rune has the voice of Christine Daae. You couldn't have just said that because it was Christine's soul? That's why she had her voice? You had to make a whole side plot about a magical violin? I wish I could make this up. I wish I was joking. I genuinely wish I was joking, but I'm not. I read this all. I read it with my own eye. It gets worse. It gets worse. I'm not even done. It gets worse. So, Erik wants to resurrect his stillborn daughter that he's been holding in an incubator for 200 years. So you know how he's going to do it? He's going to cut out Rune's vocal cords and put it in the stillborn daughter, and he thinks that will resurrect her. Excuse me? Can't explain to you why this man would think putting vocal cords in a corpse would bring it back to life. Like, that's it. That's the story. She escapes. The sewer is flooded. Erik goes to Canada, and Rune and Thorn stay in Paris and fall in love. It was comical to me how seriously this book took itself. Like, did you guys hear me correctly? He owns a rave! How am I supposed to take anything seriously in this novel after learning that? How dare you? How dare you use Erik and Christine, lovely Christine, for your horrible YA fanfiction? How dare you? I am embarrassed to tell you that I liked this as a kid. I am genuinely red in the face embarrassed that I sat down in my youth, read this book, and went, yeah, it's good. Yeah, that's some good content right there. I'm sorry. I want to apologize to every single YA book in existence. I wish I could rate this 0 stars on Goodreads if I had to. Before I leave you, I have to talk about this because my eyes hurt reading this book, and not even because of the content in it. The font in this book is colored red. It's red. Every page in this book is red. Why? Colored font is not cute. Colored font is not accessible. It is tacky and dumb, and let's all as a book community stop doing it. It's horrible. my eyes literally started hurting for long periods of time because I cannot read text in red. And God forbid you're like colorblind or something, or God forbid you already have trouble with your eyesight as it is and now you have to open up this book and read text in red. It has to be a thing with this author because I remember Splintered being in purple and it was worse than the red. So that was my review on this book, I guess. I don't know if you can call it review. My review, bad. One word, B-A-D, period. That's it, that's my review. That's what you're gonna get. Thank you for listening to me rant for however long this video is going to be. I genuinely needed to get that off my chest. This was essentially therapy for me. So thank you for watching. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, a wonderful life, a wonderful time. I thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time in a new video. Bye.